same answer. So with the leave of members, we can leave 1.2, which is development budget analysis, and go straight to pending bills. Pending bills.
Thank you, Chair. The audit query number 2 is about pending bills.
Yeah, before you read it, I had very well. Now, Auditor General.
Thank you, Chair. The audit query number 2 is about the examination of expenditure schedules revealed that some of the pending bills have been outstanding for long periods. Some as far back as the plausible explanations were provided by management for the failure to settle the bills in spite of the county executive. Have the pending bills been settled and the expenditure charged to the respective votes a surplus of Kenya shillings 300 presented for audit? Thank you, Chair.
Vice Chair, can you come on record, please? Sorry.
Thank you. Thank
you. The reported surplus include 2 exchequer releases of one is 665 million plus and another of 665 868, both the same amounts, amounting to 1.3 billion, dated 5th of July 2019, when the financial year had already lapsed and therefore could not be applied during the financial year 2018-2019. However, the county government has managed to settle pending bills amounting to 718,586,190 by 31st of June 2021, out of the 1.19 billion, leaving 476 million plus outstanding as indicated in the pending bills movement schedule. The balance will be paid as soon as funds are released from National Treasury. If I'm allowed to add, in addition to this, this was carried over because the monies we received our allocations or disbursement from Treasury after the financial year had closed. So we got the 1.3 billion afterwards. So the application could not be audited in the current audit. And Mr. Chairman, the same will also occur. It's even worse this financial year, because this financial year will probably receive about 3 or 4 different disbursements.
Don't worry, Governor. Don't anticipate an audit query of this financial year before it is brought. So let's just deal with the one we have, and the information you have supplied, it will help. Auditor General, what is your take on the response?
Thank you, Chair. When we were doing the audit, our expectation was that we would see them clearing the pending bills with the amount which was available in the bank at that particular time. But it didn't happen, and the pending bills were still there, so it was a concern for the auditor. That's why it was raised as a query.
But is there the story of Machakos County, a true account of what happened? They received these monies after the closure of the period, and they had to account for it during the period that had been closed, so they could not post it differently. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So the explanation flies as far as you are concerned.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. The Vice Chair, Senator Godana Harugura.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just not clear on an issue here in the explanation.
Yes, Governor.
That's the same thing that governors keep on us in the new financial year, and that's the challenge that we are facing every time. It's a very good question, Senator, and we call upon the Senate to intervene for us, because we are now in 3 months in arrears. We're in a new financial year, yet we now accruing more pending bills from last financial year because we're not able to pay what is in our budget, because we are yet to receive allocations for last financial year, and we're already in a new financial year, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Duda.
Every year, as far as pending bills is concerned. But I need to understand, because when you get the budget, the first charge should be on the current pending bills. Why would you keep on, taking it forward? Because it should have been cleared this financial year, and next financial year you start something else. So why was it not cleared within the previous years.
Senator Rugura, you want to make a follow-up?
Yes, I just, point 3 will not appear in the financial statement of 2018-19 because the money came basically in the first week of 20.
Governor, actually, it's a very simple question. Your answer is the one complicating it. You see, you are the one you prepare your financial statement. Let me say you are finance department. You may not be a finance person. The law requires that they prepare a financial statement within a certain financial epoch or period that ends 30th June 2019. Now, in your statement, the one that they prepared for you, they included the funds received beyond that period, and therefore gave an impression that during that period, you had excess money, but you are not paying pending bills. Why did you do that? So that's the Vice Chair's question. Then you can answer together with Senator Dudo's question.
Thank you. Even if it has not come in, but you know it's already coming in. So we included, we are required to include.
No, it's not the correct one. If you look at the PFM and the Public Audit Act, you prepare a statement up to 30th June. Yes, the fact that you have not included that money up to that 30th June, it does not mean you are hiding it. It just means it was not received during the calendar period. So the question is, why did you include it, therefore making your statement complicated?
Mr. Chairman, to answer the question, what they do and what they have also done in this financial year is that they leave the levy of influence open so that we can be able to include as much as possible. But we're well guided. We were well guided, and I think my team has heard about how to get these things done.
Senator Dudo's question.
Madam Senator Fatuma Dulo, it's a very good question, and as you realize, Senator, and you're one of the most hardworking senators in your programs, is that it's a balancing act. We can wake up today and pay all the pending bills, and then we shut down the hospitals because there will be no money for medicine, there will be no money to pay the doctors, there will be, we will not provide water to our people. It's a balancing act. We'd like to clear the pending bills. Over time, we've had our challenges, so we try to push it as much as possible. Because we're trying to pay the pending bills, Kenya Revenue Authority also on our necks to pay all this, the income tax and everything. So, but I get the point. We'll push as much as possible. But the only reason we have not been able to clear at one go is because if we did that, we'll be committing suicide. Services would come to a screeching halt.
And committing suicide is? We are yet to see a government that commits suicide. Human beings may, but the government. Senator Agnes Kabinda, I had noticed that you had wanted to speak on to this.
14, still in your books. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Agnes, and that's a very good point that you've made, and I totally agree. And my plan is that it's been unfortunate that in these financial matters it has been a challenge for counties, even the national government, to clear pending bills. But we'll try as much as possible during the balancing act, and I feel for the people as you have mentioned. Thank you very much, Vice Chair. One of the challenges we've had, and I think you get this from many counties, was the issue of validation and verification of pending bills. Initially, the pending bills were close to several billions, and because when they were verified by the auditors, we found that they were not as big as they were supposed to be, because, as you know, Kenya is a very interesting country. And so we didn't want to pay for white elephants. We didn't want to pay just based on paper, so we took some time to actually go to the ground to say, if somebody said they build an ECD, for example, is the ECD there? And we were able to clear off about 2 billion of fake pending bills that people had presented. You go where they say they build an ECD and you find there was nothing on the ground, yet the documentation was it's a pending bill to be paid. So that is why it took some time, but we working hand in hand with the Office of the Auditor General and others, and ESCC and others, we've been able now to get the real pending bills. So to avoid double payments. So we found some places where there are double payments. You know, the same supply is being put forth to be paid about 4 times for the same one item. So it took some time to clean shop. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Mwaruma.
Chair, thank you. So that we are clear on something here, when I look at this last paragraph of the response, leaving 476 million outstanding, as indicated in the pending bill movement schedule. So it means that all the pending bills from 2013 to their ending June 2019 have been cleared by June 2021. That is my understanding. So we still have some pending bills for the year 1920 and 2021 that would be outstanding. Is that the position?
No, Senator, it is a collection of all the bills, all of them from 2013. So it's not for a specific year. They are all of them from 2013 cumulatively, which we've been able to pay.
To the year ending June 2019.
The year ending by June 2019.
So we expect some pending bills for 19, 20, and 2021.
We're expecting some pending bills because of the late disbursement of monies.
No, I understand. I just want to understand because next year we'll be looking at the year under review 1920. So we'll be expecting those pending bills.
Yes, we do. And what we've done,
apart
Mr.
from
Chairman,
the contested ones.
Yeah, apart from the contested, but these are the ones we've got the plans on how to pay them. And what we've done, if you look at Appendix 2, we're working together with the Office of the Control of Budget. We've worked on a schedule of how to clear all our pending bills. So we put the schedule.
Yes, Senator Dula.
Chairman, maybe the contested ones. You said apart, because when you say contested, you have either agreed or disagreed. And of course, some of them will run to the court and ask for enforcing the same.
And that is exactly what has happened, Madam, with your indulgence, Mr. Chair. Senator, have ineligible. I've said they are not interested anymore. But we do believe that we'll be able to sort out everything. We have very little remaining in terms of resolution of the pending bills.
Yes.
Just something just small.
Oh, yeah.
I would request the governor to provide the committee with the status of the county pending obligations and both eligible and ineligible pending bills.
Yeah, I actually wanted us to make progress, and I want to make us into this. In the next 2 weeks, this committee desires that you present for this audit issue the pending bills that were there as at that time, the ones that have been cleared regarding that period to date, the ones that are contested, and the plans that you have for clearing all of them. A commitment, how you plan to clear all of them. Pending bills are a serious issue, particularly when it relates to local folks in Machakos or anywhere else. Those fellas collapse under the burden of not receiving their revenues, and that is the concern not just of the senator for Machakos, but all senators and all county governments, because when your people collapse, you are having a problem. When they have to go to court, courts, they create even more legal bills and other bills that do not solve the matter. So I want us to leave it there and move on to the next issue, summarized way 3.1, failure to disclose assets inherited from the defunct local authority. Auditors have...
Thank you, Chair. They have not been able to
read
disclose,
the audit issue.
They are working on it.
They are?
They have not been about it.
They are doing something.
Yes.
I thought we would handle it in a summarized way. Let us hear the whole story.
Audit query number 3.1 is about failure to disclose assets inherited from the defunct local authorities.
Financial statement for the year. The government did not have in its possession ownership documents for the assets taken over, including title deeds for lands and logbooks for vehicles. As a result, there's real assets and their ownership status as of 30th June 2018. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
In August 2019. So we just got the report in August 2019, and in the report it was established as per the attached IGRTC report and the Gazette notice, and that's an appendix 3.1, 1 and 2. The county government has also in the last quarter of financial year 2020-2021 embarked on identification and verification of public land. This is being done in partnership with the national government, National Land Commission and the county registrar. To this end, the Department of Lands and Physical Planning has developed a draft public lands assets register, that is appendix 3.1. Number 3. The department has embarked on the development of a county valuation roll, which will inform the correct and current value of the public land assets in the county. The valuation process is phased and piloted in Mavoko and is being jointly implemented by the county and Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning of the national government. And that is given as appendix 3.1, the fourth document on this matter.
Is that all?
Use of the things.
Yes, Governor,
And corruption.
You can see the urgency and the risk. Hii wakati wa siasa, wakati kutafuta other seats, other people are noticing the place and around Kenya. And they are very hard working, particularly when they are talking about how wealthy they are. But they become wealthy by making your people and yourselves poor. So when are you concluding this? And what are you doing in the interim period to protect the property and interest of the people of Machakos?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much, Senator Kavindu. I totally agree with you that we have to ensure that we protect the assets. As you know, before we got into government, the county governments, the council governments that have been there before, keen in Machakos to ensure that all government property, vehicles, everything are protected. And we include all the investigative agencies through the process so that we can actually get back. And you'll be seeing us getting land back from people who it doesn't belong to, who have taken it from the people of Machakos. It's going to be these scandals. According to the program that we've set forth, we expect that by the end of December of this calendar year, 2021, we'll be done with the asset register and we'll be able to account for each and every single property belonging to the people of Machakos, held in trust by their government.
Chair, maybe if I may, how are you managing the cost? Because most counties have shied away from the valuation process, especially for land. One county was giving us an estimation of about 500 million that is funding that valuation process.
What we did is, it's both, but we have struck an agreement to get the land belonging to governments verified so that it can be available for investors and also expansion and growth. So we are in working collaboration with the National Land Commission and national government agencies.
Do you have county valuers and other internal staff necessary for this, or are you relying outsourcing from private practitioners?
We have our teams and also we are contracting out the works.
Okay. Senator Dulo.
Chairman, I'm in by audit query where the auditor says there is a risk of the assets being transferred to a third parties without the consent of the county government. Have you noticed something, or you just, cautioning the county government?
Auditor. This is a general suspicion. Make my statement, Senator Dulo. Don't interrupt the chair. I've not said what I'm saying. So just allow me, just like I allowed you. Now, auditor, for this fear that this is likely, or have you seen something that makes it about to disappear? I think this committee would be interested. This property.
Thank you, Chair. If you proceed with the report, you realize in other paragraphs there is a report on some land that an earlier report had indicated was encroached and was subject to grabbing. So,
Very well, Senator Dulo. I've come back to you. I was making mine so that you can make another after me. I wasn't actually. Members, regarding this, the governor, you have indicated that by December, you have the date of delivery of a bouncing register of assets, a complete bouncing baby of register of assets. If I'm be stopped, whoever is in another meeting, so that we go on with this one. Let's move on to the next one, which is...
Thank you, Chair. Audit query number 3.2 is about failure to secure county residential houses, a local authority. Further, the county government has not explained the actions it has taken to repossess the houses. Thank you.
Operation availed the maps showing the actual site they had developed, and it's corresponded to the physical infrastructure on the ground, and indeed confirmed that that was the actual scheme that had been developed by Masako County Council. This was as per the register index map, IRM, and the survey plan F/R70/83, identifying the plots by the corporation. A survey team was sent to the ground by the corporation and filed a report. The county government is pursuing the matter with the national government with a view to resolving the matter as per the attached correspondence. So, Mr. Chairman, just to add on to that, it's an ongoing. It's an issue that, due to the bureaucracy of Kenya, we had to go back and forth. The national government had to know, we needed to verify that those really, the works were done, they are there, how is it done? So we've gone through all those stages, so we are at the final end. And we do feel as Machakos, we've discussed this, that if by the next 3 months they are not handed over, then we'll have to go to court to force the national government to hand back to us property belonging to the people of Machakos County.
From your narrative, you don't seem to be saying something. It is this if that is saying a lot. Are these your houses or they are national government houses? I think that is the gist of the question.
They are Machakos County houses.
Then what are you doing? All this long story. Just get your houses. That's what the auditor is asking. Get your houses. Why are you not?
It is, they have been listed as belonging to the national government, and they are run by the national government, instead of being given as part of the assets belonging to the county government. So it was an error that was done at the time. Basically, quote in quote, they were grabbed by the national government. So we are trying to re-grab them back or bring them back.
The audit query is very simple and straight. You have given a long narrative of other things. The audit query is, these seem to be your house. Specifically, what are you doing? It could also be, you can also do something to give them now back officially to the national government.
Yeah. Chair,
but what are you doing?
I want to ride on your question, Chair.
Yes.
This is a prior year matter. The county government has answered now that there's something they are doing now. The query was, at that time, if it was the year ending 2018, June, that the county government seemed not to be doing anything. That was the query then. So maybe what we should be getting is, why didn't they do anything from the year 2013?
And what are they doing now?
To 2018. What they are doing now might be here, but why they didn't do anything up to the year ending maybe 2018, June, why didn't they do anything?
Governor, before we open it to other members, those are the two issues. It has an if, that if something then you might have to go to court. So it still does not address that. Can you come through or come clear on that aspect? Or whether you have given up on these houses?
I'll not mistake resolution and sort out those issues. But we've been able to verify, and we're under the final stages of agreeing with the national government for an amicable handover of the houses back to us. So we can always walk in and take them, but we have agreed with them that now there's no pending issues and the houses belong to us, and we've attached the correspondence as Appendix 3.2 showing the stage we've reached. So we believe that in the next 3 months, we'll get back the houses. The problem we've had, and speaking maybe on behalf of my colleagues in the Council of Governors, is that the process of dealing with the national government takes very long. We are a very bureaucratic country, as you're aware. So the bureaucracy can even take years of a very simple matter. But we would like them to revert very quickly back to the Machakos people.
Yes, Senator Arugura.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to confirm with the county council, Masaku County Council, or is when the county government came in?
What used to happen is that the county councils got permission for every purchase of buildings or for any loans from the then Ministry of Local Government. So at that time, as the work was going on. So it was under Masako County Council, but with a big umbrella of property of the local government, of the national government. But then devolution came by. When devolution came, they clung to them. And I think you understand. Thank you.
Very well, Senator Fatuma Dulo.
See why the government is holding on to it. But it's important the leadership of Machakos County put their heads together and see how that property reverts back to the county government as soon as possible. And again, it's good to keep record what is outstanding and what is not outstanding, because I've heard him talking about loans and all that. Because, you know, if you don't fast track the process and get to know what are the real issues, then you might end up losing some of the properties, maybe changing hand and all that. So I think you need to fast track the process. Thank you.
Well guided.
Senator Kavindu.
To see what you are doing with immediate effect of following up. These are properties for Machakos people, and they should be taken back to the Machakos people.
Senator Kavindu, the governor said he wants to grab them back. No, he also said the government grabbed.
With what Senator Fatuma pointed out, and also my very good Senator Kavindu, it's a very important matter, and it's a matter that shouldn't take too long. But I want to give my word to this committee that in the next 3 months, we'll ensure that these houses are reverted through the proper channels. We're trying to do this in a very amicable exchange of letters, handover of the property, so that we can have clear records even for the future, so nobody can ever challenge it. I give my word.
Very well, Senator Mwaruma.
Chairman is to the auditors, because the auditors, given this explanation and given the presentation by the governor on Hansard, how does that sit with you? Does that serve to mitigate this query, which is a prior matter, or you have to wait until these houses revert back to the county government of Machakos so that this query is fully mitigated?
Your auditors, as you answer that, you had not been shown anything indicating that action was being taken.
Thank
based
you, Chair.
on this.
Our position is that the last communication with the ministry was on 7th November 2019. So there's no recent communication. So we may not be able to tell exactly what is happening currently.
Governor, mambo ya 2019, sisi tuko 2021. A whole year. COVID ran away with your government and the national government, and there were no letters. You know, this COVID may be a very dangerous thing.
There's been, yes, I concur with the auditors. People are working from home, few responses, but we are back to it, and we'll be reminding them to reply to our last correspondence, which should be the final letter that we're expecting from them.
I think you, Professor Langat, yes, you were last short, then I give a ruling.
Okay, most of my concern, Chair, has been already dealt with. I want to say that on matters to do with land, when it comes to Machakos, it's so important And that is the goal for a lot of reevaluation, so that I'm sure in future that will be the main revenue source for the Machakos. I'm also happy to say, Chair, that most of my friends who have bought land towards Kamulu and the rest, the parts of Machakos.
Including you live in Machakos?
No, I'm not a Chair. The processes of their land title is so fast as compared to the Nairobi side. And I want to say keep on doing the right thing, and it will really help Machakos in future. Otherwise, most of the things have been addressed.
Now, Governor, I want to make this ruling within 8 weeks that you resolve this matter or declare hostility. These correspondences, not getting anywhere. You write and expect somebody to write back. You must come to a position of either you have the houses or you have a dispute for somebody else to declare whose houses those are. If you continue at this rate, those are the concerns that the auditor said that some other people are also watching will arise. And those people, because this one has the footprints of national government, you may not know who is watching from the national government, and you are not in charge of national government. You are only in charge of county government, so you may not guarantee that this property may continue being yours. So that is the ruling, 4 weeks, and we want 8 weeks, and we want, in the meantime, 14 days, we want to see what steps. We want to see a response from you to the auditors indicating this week, this will be done next week, up to the end of the 8 weeks. So we move on to the next one, which is 3.3.
The county executive paid 2/3 of the contract price. That is the 25 million out of the 37, nearly 38 million, leaving a third outstanding, awaiting works to be done satisfactory as per the contract. The contractor was requested to repair and complete the works before final payment is done. The current position is that no further payment has been done for the works, and the amount not paid to the contractor is sufficient to cater for repairs. The matter that is between the county executive and the contractor is currently in court, awaiting determination of the way forward. If I can just add on to this, these appendixes of what is going on in court, so we can't discuss much further, but the contractor refused to get back and finish the work properly. So as a county, we said, then we are not going to pay you the remaining amount of money unless you do your work properly. So the contractor went to court instead. So we're just waiting a ruling, which we do believe will be in our favor.
Yes, auditors, what's your review?
We reviewed the documents that the governor is referring to, and we noted that the rectification which was commented by the auditors had not been done, and the project has stalled. Nothing has changed, so the issue is still open from our end. Thank you.
How about, have you verified that these matters are in court?
Yes, we verified, and we read the correspondences between the contractor and the county government, the court papers.
Okay, Governor, what is the dispute in court?
The contractor says that he did a good job and that it was negligence of the county that allowed, I think, a lorry or something to work on the track before it had fully dried, so he's not liable. But we are saying that you need to do a proper job and not blame other factors by the time you leave.
Okay. And in all this dispute, where are the people of Machakos who are supposed to use this truck?
The truck is usable. It's just not.
Are they using
It's not at 100% quality.
Is anybody using it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. It's used. Track and fields, they still use it. People jog there all the time. It's only that it is not at the level that it should be at. So the auditors are right in terms of talking about the shoddy work that was done, and that is why we refuse to pay the remaining amount of money until they can come and do a satisfactory job.
In your estimation, are you able to sort out or settle this matter quickly so that the public can benefit?
Yes, so estimation is we're asking the court to allow us to cancel that contract and award somebody else
timing. For us here, the people of Machakos need to be using the best quality. In fact, they needed to be using it like last year or some other year. So when will it be available for their use?
We just hope that the court will finalize the matter within the next 3 to 4 months so that we can get down to using it. The faster the case ends, because I think now it has reached the ruling stage. And then after that, now once we get the ruling,
we wanted to hear that. You know, we are aware that it's in court. But unajua mwananchi hiyo court haelewi na hii mradi. Yeye anaiona tu kwa mbali. Hata like you can see, when you tell wananchi this is your stadium and you invite them to tour it without giving them background information, they'll say it's of poor quality. They will not know about the court. That is a very long story. But if you say you think courts will be through with it when?
I can't speak for the courts, but we are estimating 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months, eh?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I think we leave it there. We just hope. But you must do something to push courts or to ask your lawyers and their lawyers to agree on the earliest date for that ruling so that you can sort out this matter. I think members will.
Yeah, I want to put in a quick question.
Governor Mutua, can you respond to that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Professor Senator, for your point. As we indicated, the track is actually being used. And as Mr. Chairman, as you said, people will not understand the long story. What we've done is that they were paid for the works up to where they were done. And the remaining amount of money is the one you pay after the services have been rendered, and after a while, you realize that the works have been done well, they're withholding, then you pay. But because the work they did and the track was complete, when it started peeling, we told them you have to repair, you have to get it to standard before we can pay you the remaining amounts.
Okay, I think that is understandable. Let's leave it there with the information we have.
Decentralized units, county administration, water and irrigation, and the Department of Solid Waste Management and inspectorate departments were not operational.
Decentralized unit, county administration, the Department of Water and Irrigation, Department of Solid Waste Management, and the inspectorate were not operating. These vehicles have since been repaired and are now working as indicated by work tickets. The fire engine mentioned, the GKA 03X, which was grounded at the time of audit, is also operational. Work tickets for these vehicles have been attached. See the analysis below. That is 6 serviced and operational vehicles, 1 serviceable vehicle, and 10 marked for disposal, and that is in Appendix 3.5.
Auditor General, what's your take away from the response as we are today?
Thank you, Chair. Our take is that the query has been partially answered because some of the vehicles have been repaired and they are operational. However, there are others which are not serviceable and they are still grounded and they have not been disposed. Thank you.
The governor reckons that there are vehicles listed for disposal. Are they among the ones that you are still concerned about?
Yes, Chair, they have not been disposed. They are still there. So that is why the question is partially answered. Thank you.
Governor, you have heard that bit. The ones that are not serviceable are still a concern and they have not been disposed of. So what's your say?
We have guided Ministry of Treasury together with the concerned ministries to fast track the disposal process.
Is that based on information that the auditors have been able to verify that there is initiation of a process of disposal? Do you
yes.
have evidence?
Yes, we can provide the evidence. it's a process here. We can provide the evidence, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Senator Agnes Kavindu, you had asked to speak.
Yes, the account assets management system is required under Regulation 132 of the PFM GG registration. And another one, does the county government of Machakos have a fleet management system? A fleet management system would help. It's key for repairs of the cars and replacement of programs. It is efficiency. So if we have it in place, maybe even the Auditor General would not be following all this because it would be their own system.
Yes, Governor.
We have a register of all our vehicles. We have a mechanical unit that actually repairs our vehicles, which we had challenges with and which we've streamlined. So vehicles can be repaired much faster than they were before, trying to sort out that issues of spares and, all those small problems. We do have a fleet management system. We even have a unit that keeps a register of all our vehicles. So we've been able to take corrective measures, and now we're on top of things. Thank you.
Senator Professor Imana.
I think they've been valued and well recorded at the status level, because we've noticed in this committee that more often than not, these particular vehicles which are lying somewhere, always vandalized, parts of them being sold by those particular people who are actually sometimes within their reach. And it really, at the time of disposal, they are just but shells that will be sold cheaply. So I hope, Governor, you can tell us if they have been valued and responsible people are taking care of them.
Yes, Governor.
Yes, I think the process is valuing, but even more important is protecting the vehicles between the valuation and the time you sell them. Yeah. Because then parts start missing and everything. And one of the things we've done is mopped all of them and brought them to the same place. Because when they are spread all over, that's when things go missing. So we brought them all to the same place so that they're well protected with good security and CCTV cameras.
Okay, very well. I direct, having heard that information and evidence that the process of disposing the unserviceable and the ones that are not in use have been initiated, and that information includes when the expected disposal will be carried out, because that aspect of the audit query was not addressed. Let's move on to the next, and effectiveness in the use of public resources. We go to the first one, compensation of.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The county government spent more than 35% of the budget in compensation of employees due to the fact that the national government, Ministry of Health, devolved its members of staff to the county government. The large numbers of staff in the ministry had to be included in the country's payroll. As a result, moreover, the collective bargaining agreement that came during this period, the CBA, between the Ministry of Health and KPMDU significantly contributed to the compensation of employees surpassing the 35% threshold. The Department of Health total wage bill for the financial year amounts to nearly 3 billion shillings, which represents 56.3% of the actual expenditure on compensation of employees, as shown in the attached table. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Governor, this response we have heard a similar one all the time. You may be outside it, but when will you be within it? And what are you doing to get to that when?
What has occurred, we've realized that, in this economy, you can't start firing people. We've decided to do is that we've realized that the reason we are hitting this above 35% is because our own local collection is low. If we increase our own local collection to be a bit higher, then our budgetary provision will be high. So we'll be able to, it will be higher than the 35%. So it may even come low, and then we'll have more money even for development. So we are working on ensuring that first, we are not hiring any more people unless they are efficient. Number two, unless they're critical. Number two, increasing our budgetary provisions. And in cabinet level, we had a discussion on how to give people a form of a golden handshake and be able to retire people a bit earlier so that people can be out of the payroll and we reduce the amount of money that is needed for compensation.
I think we need to bring it to an end, but just look at your statement, page 44 of your, which is your table. You have started paying pension and other social security contributions 2018, 2019. You are not paying it previously. So these are some of the hidden things that you are not looking at.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and I do concur.
Why were you not paying it previously? Because really, when you hand over and hopefully you become president, this will be a nightmare for the people who brought you to national limelight, the good people of Machakos, if their contributions were not paid.
We had a challenge, and I have to admit, from the word go in being able to clear some of these contributions and even pay as you earn. But I'm resolve a lot of those.
You are paid all of them.
We've basically paid all of them, including
the
ones with KRA and the penalties. We've sat down and agreed with them, and I think with KRA is the only pending one, and I think within the next 3 months, is it? 3 months will be done.
Even those penalties are drawn from monies that would otherwise have been used to render services, so that this is not a good way of managing public resources and managing pension and social security matters for people.
Guided.
Now, I think we want to leave it there, and we hope that at all times your government and your administration must.
First 2-3 years of my government, we actually spent more in development than other counties. Then with the strike of the doctors and a few changes here and there, we found that now the wage bill was astronomical and we couldn't really match the keeping our recurrent expenditure below where we wanted it to be. So it's a common problem. It cuts across every single county, national government. That's not an excuse, but we're working towards it. And one of the ways we are doing is to ensure that we don't have any more hiring. We negotiate with people to leave the service, and we increase our local collection, because once we increase our local collection, then we have more money to put into development. We are very excited, all of us, myself included, with the BBI proposal of adding the allocation to 35, 45, 40%, because that meant that the wage bill will remain the same, but then you'd have the whole of this other chunk to put into development, which is what our people want.
That when we look at BBI may not be the correct position. we come across many governors who, when they see...
Delays have been as a result of delayed disbursements of funds from the National Treasury, as well as the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, due to guidelines, orders, and restrictions affecting construction projects. Management has initiated contract termination and subsequent legal action necessary of the remaining 2 projects to ensure there are no losses of public funds. If I can also add, Mr. Chairman, is that many counties, mine included as the governor of Machakos, face problems in completing projects, because once you get a contractor on site and the contractor is supposed to be paid every time they bring a certificate. They bring a certificate, they need to be paid their 50, 100 million, yet the disbursement for the national government is delayed for 3 months. That contractor tends to park and go elsewhere, and you want them to continue. So eventually, by the time you pay them, there's a delay, and they don't work as efficiently as they did. So there's repercussion whenever there are any delayed funds. Number 2 is to say, and I'm very grateful, and I think the auditors have pointed this out, I'm very grateful to His Excellency the President, because when he came to Machakos, he was actually able to open some of these projects, including the Machakos Convention Center, which is part the Machakos International Convention Center, which is part of this, Mr. Chairman. And I hope that in the future, Senate hearings can also be held in Machakos, so we can also make some money, not just at KCC.
We visit there to make for you money. that is not part of the audit query here, so we will not talk about it.
It was in a light touch, Mr. Chairman.
We understand. Now, auditors, what's your take?
I have a principle in my governance that in all my projects, we do zero variation, because variation has been one of the ways of stealing public funds. So anybody asking for variation, we tell them from the beginning, no variations unless something really unbetold that we didn't know as really, there has to be very strong justification for it, but we hardly do variations.
There is already variation here, not in terms of money, but in terms of completion date. So that policy of yours, it must be described in such a manner that it also says no time variation or completion date. Senator Chebeni.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. You said 2 at an advanced stage. What about the next 2? You have not said something about that. And also, Chairman, I think it's an issue with how we award contracts to contractors. I don't know whether it's an issue of capacity, because most of them abandon projects, and these are projects that are going to, probably help the residents of the county, but they abandon it at, at a very critical stage. So I don't know whether it's a problem with how we award the contractors, or it's something that just comes up. But generally, this project was supposed to, end in 2019, and we're in 2021, so it's still taking so much time. So what are you doing about that?
Yeah, Senator Dulo, before the
As the remaining projects, or the ones that the governor is saying they are at advanced stage, what percentage? At what percentage are the completion rate are? Thank you.
Senator Kavindu.
Yeah, Chair, so before he answers that, so that he can answer all together, we also would like to see the details of the 7 projects, contractors and contract sums paid and pending. We need also to know the framework used in the planning of the projects, the timelines. The timelines, because the project was supposed to end by 2019. We know there have been challenges, but when does he expect to end and finish these projects? We are in 2021.
Senator Marum.
Even in terms of the delay, or to explain the delays, is because of lack of sufficient funds. And if this project was supposed to end in the year ending June 2019, if the funds delayed, then they eventually come. We're supposed to do a supplementary budget to complete the projects. If we had maybe less collection, we didn't hit the target, then also it's possible in the subsequent year to do a budget to have those projects prioritized, so that you finish them before you start new projects. So still, I don't think I'm really convinced that just lack of funds could have been the reason. Number 3, and lastly, Chair, the impact of COVID-19 might not have affected these projects, because COVID just came in March 2020. In 2019, it was not there. Thank you, Chair.
Very well, Governor, can you
is not able or is not able to finish. You said something very important, Madam Senator, and that is the issue of procurement and how the contracts are awarded. What usually happens in the procurement system now, in the e-procurement, is that it's given to the lowest bidder. And that lowest bidder, then you go through verification of different documents, and the lowest one who is most qualified gets a job. In this country, the system there has been, you'll find that the contractors that are getting the work, who know how to do the work, do the documents, do everything properly, as per the procurement laws, ESCC and everything, tend to be the same ones. So you find a contractor, you give them work, and you find that they have another 20 jobs in different areas. They are doing 10 projects for the national government, 5 for here. And you know the criteria of you cannot remove somebody or not give a contract to somebody who has won the tender because they are doing another tender somewhere else. So that's our challenge. So you find some of them tell you, I cannot continue this work because the county of Turkana has not paid me. Bomet is yet to pay me for the hospital I'm building. So akinilipa, ndio nitakuja nifanye hii. Ile certificate mlinipatia, nilikimbiza Kiambu. So we hear that all the time, every single day. So that's a problem. So we need to find a way of restricting, looking at a system or the law to change, so we can restrict the contract you get according to even, because the bid bonds don't even help at all, because if they're not working, they're not working. The Senator Kavindu, thank you. It's a very good query, and we have already provided in Appendix 2.2 the project status report and also the progress pictorials, all there. The other question that was asked, Senator Maruma, about the timing. Yes, COVID did not play a factor at that time, but you see, we were hoping we couldn't finish 2019 because of all those delays, we would finish 2020. Now, when COVID came in, there was a further delay even with the disbursement of money. So that's where it came in, the disbursement of money for the projects to be completed. Mr. Chairman, your question about the timeline, we do expect, and my expectation is that these projects are all completed by the end of this financial year, but mostly by December of this year. I want to be free from January to August as I serve my people of Machakos to also showcase what I've done as I transition from the White House to the State House, God willing.
Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah. Which clearly shows that almost nothing has been done. Yeah. And then the caption there says, termination process initiated and demand notices issued. I don't know what they mean, but I really want to know what is the status of these two projects, because 10%. By now, you should have cancelled the project and given it to somebody else so that Machakos people can benefit. Thank you.
Yes, Governor.
Look, Oka, these are people who've not the process of cancelling contracts. And what has happened is that there are games that are played. It's a very long process to cancel a contract. There's a lot of back and forth. And if you move with Kifu and cancel the contract, they go to court and end up being paid the whole amount of the money they should have been paid by doing nothing. So we've been very, very cautious about it. That is why it has taken a bit long. But now we are at the final stages of cancelling, so we can award somebody else so that person can finish. The good thing is that there's been no loss of money. So it's work they never did, so they never get paid for it.
Okay. What we need to well-documented report on the status of the project, where we are now, and when it will be completed. Where we are now, according to the construction, not just percentages, but also percentages, and according to payments, both actual amount and percentage, then when the completion will be made. That should be able to advise us on behalf of the public as to when some of those projects will be available for their use, the projects that their funds were utilized for constructing. I think we should leave it there. And
payment of legal fees advance. In October 2018, the Department of Trade and Economic Planning committed to pay a law firm partnership bill. The bill would, upon enactment of County Assembly, regulate investment partnerships between investors and the county executive. $1,100,000 shillings in advance on 27 September 2018 ahead of the signing of the formal contract.
Mill and Company Advocate is a pre-qualified service provider as per the procurement laws and regulations. The said firm was issued instructions to prepare a draft county PPP bill on March of 14, 2018. The firm forwarded a fee note of 4.6 million on 20th April 2018. A copy of the draft county PPP bill was forwarded to the County Assembly office on October 2018 and was subsequently forwarded to the County Assembly for enactment. And that is shown as Appendix 3, Instructions Fee Note and the draft bill. The County Assembly are still working on it. And I know they have been waiting because there's been a raft of measures also in the National Assembly in terms of reorganizing and changing the PPP regulations and laws. So they are waiting to align themselves to it. But work was done, and that's what they're using. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Auditor General, what's your take?
Thank you, Chair. The main concern of the auditors in this particular issue was that there was an advance payment before the formal signing of the contract, and the procurement process, we were not sure whether it was done according to the competition required by the law. So after going through the response and the attachment and the verification of what they said, we concluded that the contract was successfully completed, and the bill was provided or was submitted to the County Assembly. Thank you.
Senator Agnes Kavindu.
Up to this time, if you have not been given sufficient evidence of competitive sourcing of this farm, those who are competing with it, and how was it arrived at giving this particular farm this particular work vis-a-vis others who did not succeed?
Yes, Senator Chebeni.
The procurement process, and then secondly, they are questioning the reason why this firm was paid in advance. I don't know whether that's a procedure or something went amiss. So that is what they're not questioning, whether the work was done, or what happened, if there's a bill or not, but they're questioning the process.
Governor.
The law and the payments were done according to the contract that was signed. So we can look at it and be able to see whether there was any advance payment, but there was no overpayment or anything. Everything was done according to
the procurement process. How
it was because it's pre-qualified. So law firms are mostly pre-qualified, and so they are chosen on ability because different law firms are good at different things.
Auditors, that method, you still, having seen that was the method, you still have an issue with it?
Thank you, Chair. When we were doing audit, we didn't know the method which was used, but they later explained to us and showed us the documents. So we agreed that that was the method which should have been used. It's only that the information came later after the report was issued. Thank you.
Very well, Senator Kavindu.
Chair.
Yeah, Governor, that is a legitimate question. Information to the auditors in time is a very serious offense. If there is no reason to it, and if there is no reason to explain the delay. So basically what Senator Kavindu is asking, what were your reasons, or what was your government's reason for not availing that information at the time of the audit? Senator Dulo, before he responds, can you...
It's the same authority to the auditors. That is number one, for the advance payment, because the procurement law is very clear. So they need to tell us whether that was in agreement between the county government and the lawyer, yeah? So that needs to be clarified, Chairman.
So, Governor, two things.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Fatma. Thank you for the questions. And also for this audit to the auditors, it's a time that I had basically fired about 500 accountants from the county of Machakos for working under having dubious behaviors. And we let them go, so our capacity was quite low. That is why we're not able to provide the documents on time, but we've been able to be guided through our different sessions in the Senate, and we've really improved in provision of documents. So that was one of the reasons why we didn't have the capacity to provide all the documents at a time. Some of them locked their cabinets and went with everything and went to court and tried to come back, but they're sitting outside because they were asking for money for every movement of a file. So I fired them en masse one morning at around 10 or 5 in the morning. Number two, in terms of the payment, everything was done as per the law. As the process was done, the payment that was done in advance, as far as I'm aware, was done according to how it should have been done and according to the contract that was initiated with the person who got this job.
Yeah, auditors, related to that question, you had asked whether there was authority for that that advanced payment. The governor contends that it was paid based on the contract they had signed. Does that address that aspect of the audit query? That the government of Machakos County Executive had signed a contract with a lawyer to do their work in that manner. So the authority is the contract that was assigned, and that's what they acted on.
Thank you, Chair. I think looking at the document
with us, it's in that law called the Advocates Remuneration Order. But I don't know what the government of Machakos was applying. But when you come to my office, you must pay deposit. Otherwise, I'll not rise and do your matter. But that is another thing. Now, having said that, this is what we have, and this is the last issue we were having here. So I wanted to invite my colleagues from my extreme left to give some brief closing remarks before we allow the governor now to.
Thank you, Governor, for appearing before the Senate. And number two, I can see you have qualified opinion. Being a now, so that you can be able to vote for you come 2022. Now, I remember your senator says a few minutes ago you should not leave pending bills behind. I think, yeah, but I hope in the other projects you are doing the same. But the bottom line is you must account to Machakos people. And again, if you're serious and your team is serious about that, I think, as I've said earlier, you should have had them qualified because there are not many serious issues. But thank you for coming and make sure that, especially on the projects that provide service to the people of Machakos, they should be complete by the end of your term if it's possible. I wish you all the best in your endeavor to be the president of this time to come 2022. Thank you.
Very well.
The queries she had and the eloquence and the points that she brought forth, and we're working together, work together very well for the services of the people of Machakos. And pleased, but I'm also excited to be in the presence of Senator Mercy, who is the youngest senator, to show that young people can actually do things and do them well. And you listen to our eloquence and ideas. I don't know why we can't get more young people involved in public service and running this country. You know, they have the energy and the zeal and the good ideas. My point number two is that accountability is vital. And we have to account, all of us, for monies that are coming from the public. If you don't want to account, then get out of the business of being in public service. It's as simple as that. So we are ready. Call us anytime, day and night, and we'll come to account for every shilling and work very well. And I want to thank the Office of the Auditor They have really helped us over the years up to the where we've reached, and we know that our next audit will even be better because they are audit, and they also help to guide us improve and be able to ensure that our systems are in place. Number 3 is to say that as a people of Machakos, and speaking on behalf of many counties, there's the issue of healthcare. Healthcare is important, and we putting a proposal and petitioning the Senate to consider changing the law or changing the regulations so that healthcare or health services are seen not as recurrent but as development, because they are taking a lot of our money, and it's a development. You know, we are assisting people. The doctors, the money that is paid to medicine is factored in as a recurrent expenditure, which makes it very difficult for us. And so it makes us look like we have a very high recurrent expenditure, wage bill, and the balance of the budget will not be there. So we're petitioning the Senate on behalf of the Senate. And finally, and I think it's an opportunity to say here because I'm in front of senators, we are grateful that the President came to Ukambani region on a one-day tour, and he'll be coming again and again, and we welcome him to come to Ukambani region. I want to say on behalf of the people of my region that we are very happy, and even to put even emphasis that we are happy with every visitor that comes to the Ukambani region. We've had comments by a senator of this Senate asking the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga not to come back to Ukambani when the President is there, and I think he does not speak for the rest of us. He might have woken up in a bad day, or maybe he was joking, but that does not, those are not the sentiments of the people of Ukambani. We want our visitors. And we ask Honorable Raila Odinga, we ask Honorable Ruto, we ask Achilo Ayako, we ask Ruma, we ask all of you. I ask my good friend Senator Ndwiga that next time the President comes, please come to Machakos, all of you, and come to Ukambani and even spend a night or two. Do not let people who fear others from coming to our region. We are very welcoming people, and Kenya is for Kenyans. You cannot tell any Kenyan not to come to a region at a particular time. There's no reason for that. It's not the proper thinking that we are guiding our people of this republic. So I ask Kenyans, please ignore those sentiments of not asking Raila to come. Next time Raila comes, we'll provide him a place to sleep. He can spend a week there, and everybody else can come. We're inviting everybody. So let's disregard those comments saying that Raila should not come or Ruto should not come. Or, you know, I'm a presidential candidate. I want to be able to go to Siaya. I want to go to Taveta. I want to go everywhere and be accepted. I don't want to come from a community where people say that uko kwenu hatutakikani. Kujeni, and come with a lot of money and spend it in Machakos so we can be left with money behind. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. God bless you.
Thank you very much. I notice, although I'm happy that today you have disabused that notion and come here by yourself. There is no clapping here. This is the Senate, we don't clap. You have disabused that notion by coming here with information and being forthright with the responses. This kind of engagement is good, not just for Machakos, but it's good for devolution. It is what you say you are doing for your people, and how you respond to objective appraisal of what your financial statements are that defend devolution. So we are happy you have come here to defend devolution in the context of Machakos County. And we are normally happy with county executives who come here without being dragged here acrimoniously to defend devolution. Devolution will only survive if it is popular with the public. The people's sovereignty may be invoked to delete devolution from existence if they are dissatisfied with the manner in which it is managed. So your coming here is in defense of devolution. You are engaging Senate, and we as senators and the Senate hopefully will do our part by legislating and ensuring that devolution endures. So this engagement is good. And we are happy that it is not true that you have never wanted to come before the Senate. We don't want to know why you are not coming. That's not our agenda today. But now that you have come and you came last year, I think it's a confirmation and an affirmation on your part that what Mwaruma says is true. If you have nothing to hide, you don't hide. You just come here and engage in the business of discussing. Number two, we are happy, or I'm particularly happy about the post-by-election engagement that I see in Machakos. We lost our colleague in a very painful circumstance, and it is something that really affected us. He was a good friend of us. He has also been replaced by a very able senator, and much more able, because in the Senate we do not have the skill and the knowledge of ladies. We have fewer ladies, and our late colleague's replacement was a lady, not just a lady, but a lady who is able to represent the people of Machakos well. What is impressive is that your engagement here is not acrimonious. It is professional, it is good. We hear you, she hears you, she raises very legitimate issues. And this is good. Some of us come from counties where we are not proud of the manner in which our engagement, goes south. It is not something that I would like to proudly be associated with, but that is life. So Machakos, after an election, the election is behind Kenyans and the people of Machakos. Life continues. County works, Senate works, and life continues. That's good. You should continue engaging in your different adverse and complementary roles to serve the people of Machakos. I think that is good. Again, Machakos during the by-electioneering period was not cacophonious. It was not violent in terms of the engagement. Various parties, including your party and the party that sponsored our senator, were engaging, and there was no physical violence. I think that is how democracy should work. So, Governor, as you dream of going to a bigger office, I think you should export nationally that engagement that has no violence, particularly violence against women. In other places, if you are a woman, you are in danger, and some matters of that kind are also in court today and yesterday. I wouldn't say where, but you can look for it. Now, I want to conclude by adjourning this meeting to tomorrow, 10 o'clock. There will be another county